Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. This is Austin Linney here, and the goal today is to see if we can make Mary cry. That's really the goal. No, I'm just kidding. How are you, Mary?
I'm doing great, Austin. Super, just honored to be here. Incredibly, all the pleasure is mine.
Wonderful. So, what I like to do is kind of give the people that are listening kind of a little backstory, who you are, where you came from, that kind of stuff. So I'll let you get started.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Mary Kate Wyatt. I am an aspiring entrepreneur, I guess you could say. My husband and I, we're partner duo together. We own the local barbecue food truck in the local barbecue catering company that is located in Kokomo, Indiana right now. I was born and raised in this town, and we have moved away, we moved back, and then we created this business together. So throughout that experience, first had started into the corporate insurance world. I graduated with a business degree, and so business and selling has kind of been in my blood forever. And then when I graduated from college, we moved back to Kokomo, where I got into corporate insurance. I was vice president of Regions Insurance for about 5 years, coming straight out of the college. And then that kind of set me up into a really great understanding of the business world. But I really was missing something in the corporate world where I feel very motivated and very personable. And I love to be connected with our community. So we had decided to leave the corporate world. My husband has agricultural background, and so we just decided to become a duo force together and create the local barbecue food truck and catering company, which is what we are currently doing now. Within that, we have I've been in the wedding industry, in business and hospitality and wedding industry for about 12 years. I've been a wedding coordinator, manager, and then promoted to a wedding director over about the last 4 to 6 years. I have planned over about 1,000 weddings and events in that time period. And then, we have a consulting company where we help out local businesses here in town, just thriving off of support and being able to dive into what really makes them as a business tick and how we can help them through that. A lot of it is wedding directing and coordinating and helping out, new venues and their teams on how to run a proper wedding, and from my experiences. And then also in the meantime, we have had 2 beautiful children. We have 2 little boys. Philip is 6 and Charlie Boone is 3 years old. And then in the meantime, I have also been battling a rare nerve and neurological disease. And so, it's just kind of a journey that has been its own thing that has led me to where we are now. And we have a huge move and future on the horizon. And so be moving our family to Tennessee soon. And so just incredibly excited for our opportunities and everything that lies ahead.
And I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't seem like you've made the easy choices. It doesn't seem like, the safety and security of a corporate world, especially with a family, is what most people would cling on to.
Yeah.
Right. What was, walk me through that decision that you and your husband made to try out entrepreneurship or just to get into it, period, and kind of talk us through those conversations that you were having with yourself and through him on like, hey, this is something that we want to do. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're here and let's just give it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's what it's all about. So at that time we had our baby was 6 months and, we're in this cushy corporate world. We both have great jobs. we just always felt like something was missing. And we knew that what we had to offer, if we could just combine that together, that we really wanted to create freedom for ourselves and for our family. We want to be able ultimately to spend the time with them that we wanted to, and not be caught up in the 9 to 5 world that we were in. It gets to be feeling sort of stuck and alone. And you just feel sort of stuck in this area. And we just knew that all the ideas that we had created together, they were always, well, let's do this in a few years. Let's look at this. This is our 5-year goal. This is our 3-year goal. This is our 2-year goal. And then it just came to the point where we're just like, fuck it, let's do it. We have so much to offer. And, we very much believe in pushing ourselves outside of the comfort zone. And that failing is a part of life. And really, it's about how you take those lessons. And so we were ready to do that. And to we had the conversations of, is this the best thing for our family, being so young? But really, ultimately, at the end of the day, we believe that pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is really where you grow. And we knew that we had a lot to offer our community.
And how did you land on kind of the catering and the wedding stuff?
Yeah, so we launched our food truck in 2017 in May, and we just took off instantly. Like, it was almost overwhelming. It was really great. We had a lot of support from our community, but the food trucking world is difficult. And if you've been in it, it is not. It's not as glamorous as you would think. There's a lot of nitty gritty stuff that goes into it, but, we are good at those things. And I would say we did the food truck circuit for a little while. We eventually ended up teaming up with a brewery in town where we would be their Thursday, Friday, Saturday food truck. But then we got our first offer to cater. It was actually a funeral, which sounds crazy, but they wanted like a really big celebration. And so we just have sort of a larger than life, I guess, presentation and imagination. They just love that. So it just transpires really well into hospitality, into catering. So we quickly found our calling in catering when we knew after the first event that was our passion. And that was exactly where our creativity could really shine, where we can work one-on-one with our clients and with our customers to really get the vision that they have for their event and their food, and really the overall theme and how we can sort of elevate their experience and bring something new to the table. So yeah, we did the food truck circuit for a few years until we decided, there's a lot of things that come into fruition when it comes to food trucking. The weather has a huge, play in that. And in the Midwest, it's not exactly the greatest, opportunity for that. When we were first starting, we thought, well, we could be like a food truck in LA where we'll just pin where we are and people are going to come follow us and it'll be like that. It's not like that here. So we quickly had to learn our market, and the shifting of that is all a lesson and an experience itself. So oftentimes we went backwards before we went forwards. So we had a lot of failure before we saw success. And a lot of people on the surface would only see our success. But, in the background, there's being a business owner, you fail a lot before you figure out how to be successful and what really works for you in your business. So we instantly started catering, and we have never looked back since that day. We cater every single weekend, rain, snow, shine. No matter what happens in our life events, we are there to elevate the experience for each and every one of our customers.
Well, I think what it does, instead of hoping you have business, you're kind of dictating when you have business, right? Not every time. Obviously, there's things, you have to do this event on that certain day. What I mean is, it's more, the catering is more predictable.
Exactly.
Right? Than like, hey, are people going to show up today?
100%. And that was it. If it was a rain out, we do barbecue. So we smoke everything 15 hours sometimes 20 hours with brisket ahead of time. And we use all fresh product. We don't freeze anything. And so if there's a rain out, we're just shit out of luck that day. And so with catering, we know exactly how many people to cook for. We know what the menu is ahead of time. And it's 100%, like you said, it's a lot more predictable than the food truck industry. And then also we're just able to elevate our experience much more.
And talk us through, you mentioned your condition, your neurological disease. Talk about the difference between where you are currently and when you went to Tennessee for the first time, and what you noticed in yourself and just kind of the overall feeling.
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with a disease called trigeminal neuralgia. It is a monster. I was diagnosed in 2019, but my symptoms of this pain date back about 10 years to 2012. So it's that in itself is a very mistreated, very misdiagnosed disease. So it's an extremely rare nerve disease that causes severe facial pain to either typically to the left side or the right side of your face. Some people are bilateral and have it on both sides. I can't even imagine. So I have mine on my right side of my face. So if you just literally in half, this entire right side of my face is at this point after my surgery is numb, and it has a whole other amount of complications that I was a result of the cranial surgery that I had last year. But in a nutshell, it is has a lovely name. It's called the suicide disease.
Fantastic.
Yeah, right. So when you find out you have that, it's just like, wow, this is awesome. So honestly, about 30% of people in my community that have this diagnosis commit suicide because there's no cure. They relieve, you're just constantly searching for relief. And so you get wrapped up in this chronic illness that is, it just sends you through a deep, dark hole because it's you can't see it. It's an illness. It's a pain that you can't see. And a lot of people often question or discount that because they can't see it. It is has been described in the medical field as the most painful disease known to mankind. So not trying to win a contest or anything like that, but yeah, it's definitely real. So the fifth trigeminal nerve is the fifth cranial nerve that is connected to your central nervous system, and it carries all the sensations from your face to your brain. So if there's something that is agitating it sits at the base of your skull here, and if it is agitating that trigeminal nerve, then it sends signals of pain to your brain, to your face. And for me, that started out in my jaw area, and it felt like a toothache for several years. And then it frequently developed, and it kind of travels from your jaw to your face, to your teeth, all the way, and then spreads all the way to your head, to your neck. And then you just feel it sort of take over like that side of your body. That in itself, I spent several yeyears of being misdiagnosed. I would often go to the dentist because I thought I have a fucking toothache, right? It feels like a toothache times 1,000. So they're like looking at everything, doing scans, doing tests. And they're like, Mary Kate, like your teeth look fine. I'm sorry. Like I can't see anything, but there has to be something because you're in an incredibly amount of pain. So after years of going through dental pain, I had root canals, I had crowns put on, they were going to pull my teeth. Like it just was crazy. And so after time, oftentimes with trigeminal neuralgia, your symptoms increase over time and they get more intense and they get more frequent too. So as my pain was increasing and becoming more frequent, I just was like, wow, this is just not normal. And I basically had diagnosed myself. So after all that time, I had finally gone to my physician, which she then diagnosed me and then sent me to a neurologist who confirmed that with an MRI to see the actual compression that they could see that was sitting on my trigeminal nerve there. So
how do you be a mom? How do you run a business? Like, how do you be a wife? Like, how do you be a friend, to be honest with you, when you're just in so much pain all the time?
Yeah, it's hard, man. It was tough. I just got to this point where I would pride myself on how far I could push myself. Like, how much pain can I endure? And it became a point where, our children and my husband saw me go through like debilitating pain. There'd be times where I couldn't get out of bed. It starts with what feels like a toothache, but then it goes to like this burning, twisting ice pick pain. And then it'll get to a point where you describe it as like electrical shocks. So like you're just getting hit with like lightning bolts, and it just goes, you could feel it all the way from your brain to your face, all the way down. So I was like, it'd be like 3 a.m. and I would be on the floor, and I pass out from the pain. And my husband would walk in and just be like, oh my God, like what is happening? I'd wake up and I'd do it all over again. And so like, I just went through this incredible amount of, I just didn't want it to shape who I was and let my pain define who I am. I let it almost be a motivator to keep saying like, how far can I push myself? How, you have to get up today. Like you have to, you don't have an option, even though I have a world of amount and support. There is just no option for me. And so I just use that as sort of a fuel to see how far I could go with the pain. And then over time, you get to the point where you feel so alone because of all the pain that you're going through. And you almost get to the point where you don't want to burden your family and friends anymore. So you just kind of, over time, I built up walls and shields almost to hide from the truth, that I was actually broken and hurting. So those are things that I'm working through now, where I'm sort of rebuilding myself and who I am and letting the experience sharpen the tools that I have instead of, defining who I am.
And why Tennessee? Like, what was it about when you went on a vacation to Tennessee that it did for your disease?
Yeah. So Tennessee is amazing. The Smoky Mountains, just the view of it, to me, just the fresh air, the Smoky Mountains. Tennessee happens to be a low barometric pressure area. And so oftentimes if you have nerve conditions or neurological disease, my team of doctors had suggested moving south, and that the Midwest really wasn't a good place for me in the condition that I am. In Indiana, the winters are very bitter, cold. And then in the spring, especially, there's a lot of barometric pressure change with rain and, snow and sleet. And so you see that, and like my face is practically like a compass. And so it leads me to where that bad weather is. And so Tennessee,
like the old man when he's like, oh, my knee, it's going to rain today, that's kind of the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And it sounds so weird. And I'm like, man, I was never like truly a believer of something like that until this happened to me. And I'm like, holy shit, it's true. But Tennessee was just circled as to one of those 5 states basically that were suggested to me. A lot of people in my community, they move to Florida or California, Hawaii, Arizona, or Tennessee. And Tennessee was just something that we had circled and absolutely loved. And we said, let's do this in 2 years. We have a 2-year goal to get our family here. And then we went and visited, and I could tell a clear, visible difference in the way that I felt. And like when you have this chronic pain and this chronic illness and this constant pain that never, ever goes away, when you find just like the smallest amount of increase, like in your quality of health, like I'm just untapping the best potential of myself that I can give to others and to my family. And so for so long, I had felt like I felt guilty, like I had not neglected myself. It's almost embarrassing when you hear that you have like a disease, because I felt like, man, I wasn't doing like the right things for my health or for whatever reason. But with this disease, a lot of it, the causes are very unknown. So a lot of people are diagnosed with it from TBI, from traumatic brain injury, or a high impact brain collision, like an accident or something like that. Others have a tumor that's sitting on that nerve. So it could be like cancerous. So like it was, a blessing to see that it was a blood vessel or an artery that was wrapped around my nerve instead of a tumor or something like that. And so, or others, it's just bad hands dealt. I mean, and it could be just as unlucky as that. So it's not something that you can pinpoint, but you just get to this point where you just want to be better, and you just are desperate for some sort of relief. And, I felt like I had robbed my family and my children from time of being the best person that I am and that I have to offer, because for years I was just sort of stuck in this world of pain and darkness, and just trying to keep my head above water every day during that time. And really, I just use those experiences to try and impact others that are going through it now, because I've been through it. And I just reach out to people all the time. I have people come to me all the time in that community, and they just feel alone. It's a very misunderstood, misdiagnosed, often mistreated, where we just, even after you're diagnosed with it, you are just I say you're handed a belly full of pills. So it's just the pharmaceutical side then, where you have anticonvulsant pills, antidepressant pills, Xanax, painkillers, muscle relaxers. I was taking about 20 pills every day, and then just thinking about, what those side effects do to you internally. I just try to use all of those experiences to shape who I am now. I refuse to take pharmaceuticals. I only seek holistic healing and treatments and things like that. So I just am really right now, I'm just trying to give my family, myself, the best opportunity to be who I am, so I can relay that and help others.
Yeah, 100%. Think about it this way. You're in pain. You're self-medicating or medicating what they've given you. Painkillers, probably, I would imagine most are putting booze on top of that too. Mm-hmm. You're looking for that relief. And when you think about people as a whole, let's just say people in general, those overriding pain can be, victimhood, can be this, can be that, right? And it's just, you're just looking for any relief, and there's none in sight. And so, to be a beacon, it's the same way I feel about my alcohol addiction. Most people didn't get out, so I have to be a shining light for others that it's possible, right? Yeah. And so, I just respect, your willingness to help others and push forward and really shed light on this kind of, whatever this condition is. And so, to watch somebody do that is so inspiring. And then also to keep taking chances, because, it's very easy for you to go back to corporate, get the health insurance, make it easy, not put the extra stress of entrepreneurship on your plate, but, you're just not comfortable with status quo, and you're willing to do what's necessary to continue to, create freedom for your family.
Yeah, 100%. And that's exactly why we got out of corporate. And we wanted to do something better. We knew that running our own business wasn't going to be easy by any means. And it comes with its own set of risks and responsibilities that are, a lot more than we really expected at that time, but our goal is to create financial freedom for ourselves and for our children, so that we can travel when we want to, where we want to, and we can be able to do business from wherever. And so really giving ourselves, after all of this time, I feel like I feel like we deserve that. And I feel like it's just a whole different world. I mean, you think that you're doing the right thing for so many years. And like my family was brought up this way. My dad was in the same industry. And so we're just like, have been plugged into this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to school. You're supposed to graduate from college. You're supposed to get a job right afterwards. You're supposed to stay at that job for as long as you possibly can to grow up the rank. And that's just how I was taught. And that's how I was brought up. But my mind was always just saying, God, there's so many things out there. And there's so many possibilities. And if we would have stayed inside that world, we would have never met you. And like, we would have never been able to open that world and that window of opportunities that we have now in front of us if we stayed inside of our comfort zone.
And what is you and your husband's like ultimate dream and the vision that y'all, have in your head, that you're looking for in your future? Like, what is the end game for y'all as you see it, and kind of what do you want to create?
Well, we have what we really ultimately want to create is, our ultimate goal is to have moved our family to Tennessee, which we are currently in the mix of doing that. And so that's a huge win. And then from there, we'd love to be able to use the experiences that we have in my story and my journey to almost be the center of a holistic healing retreat or program, where if it's, the same community, if you're dealing with nerve disease or neurological, or if you just are a healthy health enthusiast, that wants to learn more about reducing stress and inflammation and, and how that affects your mind, body, spirit. That's really what we ultimately would like to do, is to be able to create something like that where we can help people. And that's really the end goal. We realize, we always wanted to do charitable events or charitable donations. But really, I think that if you create a place where people can go and be treated in a proper way and understood, and you can work with them on their mission to like kind of uncover those layers and discover like who they are all over again after the traumatic experiences that, people have gone through in their life, whether it's physical or mental. I think everybody needs sort of a little bit of some rest and relaxation for their mind and their body and spirit. And so we ultimately would love to be in the Airbnb world, which you are very, very knowledgeable about. And so really, we are connecting ourselves in the right circle and with the right people. We really just, we don't want money to be the motivator in everything, in the things that we do, but we believe that you have to have money in order to help other people. Truly in impactful ways. And so anything that I can do to use as an influence or an impact on other people to build off, we very much believe in investing in yourself first. So that's where we circle around to where we are now. If ever there was a time to double down on ourselves, we always did that. And so we decided to build off of our own skills and to fully commit to them, and then had to continue to educate and to learn. And so it's really, we've just been on a journey of where we were letting the experiences shape us, not define us. And then how can we use that moving forward to impact the most amount of people as possible?
And I think, the opportunity to be mad at the world, the opportunity to say like, why is me, like, it's such an easy crutch to just use that for the next 80 years of your life. And so to see you and your husband really say, you know what, we're going to use this as a springboard to help others and help ourselves and create something that's so inspiring. So that's when everybody meets you, they're so inspired by that story. And so the more that you do things like this, the more things that you're out there showing yourself and meeting people in the community, the more they can be inspired by your story as well. And, one of my good friends, who's a co-owner in one of our companies, beat cancer twice. And when I interviewed him a year ago, I was like, my troubles weren't, my troubles aren't your troubles. Like I had it easy compared to like you being cancer. And he stopped me and he said, "Hey, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life." He said, "Because your struggles are your struggles, my struggles are my struggles. And remember that all doors swing on small hinges."
For sure.
And it was like one of those wake up moments where it allows you the freedom and the permission to just feel your story and then deal with it and then get it out there and then help others. And so for you to do that is so inspiring. So if people want to follow you, they want to reach out to you, the story inspires them, how would they do that?
Yeah. So, and that was something that I definitely wanted to touch on. If anybody who's listening to this is experiencing like these sort of symptoms, please reach out to me anytime. I have a consulting company that is called FLOURISH Consulting. And you can email me anytime at Flourish Consulting Kokomo, KOKOMO @gmail.com. And I will walk you through every step of the process, whether you are just feeling these symptoms first or you've been diagnosed with it and you just need some guidance on how to get through the pain. I've been there from day one till going through the regimens of the treatments that they have. There's just a handful of them. And then going through, the actual, like the final straw that they call it for the microvascular decompression surgery. So, and it's an actually extremely invasive cranial surgery. And that was sort of like the 10-year, like that's my last straw. Like when I finally can't take it anymore, that's what you do. And so there are a lot of people that I have walked through that process as well. That's very nervous about the surgery itself. So whether you are going through the experience of the pain on the day-to-day levels, or you are needing some recovery and some healing, I'm here for you. I just think people think that they're alone. And, that's something that I felt also. And so I have a lot of tools and resources that I can help people get through those times, whether it's diet or nutrition or what works, what doesn't work, like what triggers are. So in our world, like triggers, I know it sounds crazy, but it's the weather, it's the wind. If the wind is blowing a wrong way, you can get kissed on the face and it feels like you've been hit in the face, like even a kiss. Laughing, crying, smiling too much, like those are all things that just cause it to just pop off. And it's sort of like, we call it the monster that lives inside of your face, because it just decides, it has a mind of its own. Like this little fucker is inside of your head and it just decides when it wants to come out, and it'll come out like whenever it wants to, and it'll do its thing to you, and then it'll disappear, and then it'll come back. So you like sort of go through these days where you just like, you don't even want the sun to come up the next day because you live in fear that it's going to come back again. And so like, I just don't want anybody to be having to go through this alone. We have found recently a lot that veterans have trigeminal neuralgia when they get back from training or get back from war-like experiences. And they're just so often mistreated and misdiagnosed. And if we can just spread some awareness to this, is what we're trying to do here. And then just let them know that there's a community out there that knows a lot about it. And we actually know a lot more about it than the medical industry. So is a huge misconnection between the medical field and the people that are suffering through this. So there is a community out there that is very knowledgeable and that can help. And so please reach out to me anytime.
Yeah, something tells me that either somebody that's listening to this or they have a family member, this is going to hit home for them. So that's why I wanted to share this story. It's super important to me. So if you have a friend or somebody that's going to get some value from this, share it, send it out to them, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.